Okay. So in this session, right, what we will is we will start learning with testing methodologies, and then we will go further into the testing concepts. Fine. Fine. So when you say that testing methodologies, like, right, let's talk about the testing methodologies first. We are having different types of testing methodologies: black box testing, white box testing, and gray box testing. And here, most of the times, as a QA, most of the times I will do my black box testing only. When you say that QA most of the times his responsibility is to perform this black box testing. See here, right, when you say that black box testing is nothing but testing the functionalities of the application without knowing the internal code. That means whatever the code developed by the developer, I will not check that particular code. What I will do is I will see that whether that particular functionalities are working correctly or not. That means, now say for example, right, if you are testing any application, like if you are testing any application, now say for example, right, I am testing one of the application. When I am testing my application, what I will do is when I am performing black box testing means I will check the functionality of my application. What is the functionality? If I entered username correctly and if I entered password correctly, then it should go to the home page. That is the functionality. So what I will do is I will test this functionality. While checking this functionality, what is the code written by the developer? I will not bother. Then it is called your black box testing. If you come back here, the definition is black box testing is nothing but testing the functionalities of the application without knowing the internal structure. So what is the code they used? We will not bother, but here we will check the functionalities of that particular application, whether it is working correctly or not. So as a tester, fine. So as a tester, your job is to check that functionality is working correctly or not. So this is my black box testing. Now when it comes to that white box testing, so white box testing, like most of the times it will be done by the developer. Most of the times this white box testing will be done by the developer, but very few organizations, what they will do is they will ask the testers to perform this sorry, they will ask testers to perform this sorry, yeah. So most of the times, right, this will be done by the developers. However, few organizations, what they will is they will ask testers to perform this white box testing. But here white box testing, if you want to perform your white box testing, then you should know the programming. If you know programming, then only you can perform your white box testing, because here we will test the application with the help of your code internal structure. So here we will test the application with the help of your internal structure. That's why, right, white box testing most of the times will be done by the developer, because here we are checking the code. And then the third testing methodology is gray box testing. So here, right, you can say that gray box testing is nothing but it is a combination of black and white box testing. So this gray box also we will use very rarely in organizations. Here we will say that gray box is nothing but you are checking the functionalities. That means, right, what we are doing, we are checking whether this login is working correctly or not from the application point of view, from the functionality point of view. At the same time, I want to check whether the code is written by the developer properly, whether he used the proper statements, whether he used the proper standards. So whenever if you want to do both your functionalities as well as your code checking, then it is called your gray box testing. But here tester means tester job is this one, black box testing, testing the functionalities of the application without knowing the internal structure. So I don't mind what is the code written by the developer. Okay, fine. See, if you guys are having any doubt, you can ask me always. Now,
Could you please give? Example for gray box.
Yeah, gray box is nothing but now what you will do is you will be checking. See here, as I said here, if you see here, now let me log out here. Now here, right, what I said, black box testing is nothing but you are testing the functionality is working correctly or not. That is my black box. That means you are checking the functionality. Now if you say that white box testing, I will go to the code and I will see that what is the code written by the developer for that particular login functionality. Whether he used that proper standards, whether he used that proper coverages, whether he used that proper paths. So for the developer side, there will be some standards will be there. So I need to cross check that whether he used each and everything. Then it is called white box testing. Now, if you are checking your functionalities plus your code verification, then it is called your gray box testing. Okay, clear?
Who will do this gray box testing?
Gray box testing, that's what I told you, right? It's very rarely we will use, but when you go to the organizations, right, say for example, if you guys are using your gray box testing, so probably, right, they will ask the testers to do that, because so if gray box means only tester can do, white box means any developer can do, and black box means any tester can do. However, if you want to do both means you have to choose tester only, because developer cannot perform testing activities. Developer don't know about what is testing. Okay, but remember, if you want to do your white box testing, you should be comfortable with your programming. That's the reason organizations always they will ask developers to perform the white box testing. Okay, fine. Then when you say that black box testing, see, as I said, like, right, my focus will be black box testing only. I'm not a developer. I'm not talking about your white box testing. I'm a tester. As a tester, what I will do is my focus always will be with my black box testing only. Here, when you say that black box testing, this is your black box testing. See here how your black box testing will appear here. Now you are having your application here. This is my application. This is my application. Now what I am doing here is I'm giving some input here and checking the output for that particular input. That is called your black box testing. That means, right, you are having a functionality. Say for example, login page is there. Now I will not give any input and then try to submit the login form. What is the output? You should get a proper error message. If you are not getting the error message, I will log it as a defect. Now I will enter my username and password as valid details. When I try to submit, I should get home page. If I am getting the home page, I will say that my test case is passed. Else I will say that it's a fail and then I will log it as a defect. So black box testing is nothing but always you will be checking the output for each and every input in that particular application. So that can be any application. That can be like your login, that can be your create a order, that can be your search order. Say for example, if you are having a search functionality, so in your application you are having your search functionality. What is my black box testing? I will give my input as ABC and then search. See that what is the result you are getting. Similarly, now what I will do is I will give a valid search item and search it. See that what is the results you are getting. So every time you are checking the output for each and every input. That is your black box testing. Okay. Here what we are doing, we are trying to understand the testing terminologies. Then we will jump into the actual testing and then we will start writing the test cases. I will talk about that what is test case and all. So probably, right, we will touch that test cases today itself. Fine. Now every time you are talking about that application, so before application going to the production, what will happen? See, any application, the application can be your Yahoo or Gmail, whatever may be the application. Before going to the production, before going to the live environment, we will be doing these kind of levels of testing. Like we will perform unit testing, we will perform module testing, we will perform integration testing, we will perform system testing, and we will perform user acceptance testing. So before going to the production, we will be doing all these testing types. So we will be doing all these testing types for any application before going to the production. I will talk about that each and every testing level. See that these are the 5 testing levels for any application. Any application I'm talking. Like unit testing, module testing, integration testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. And here also you have to focus this one. You have to focus this one. You have to focus this one. System testing, because system testing is very important, and this is the testing type where the testing team will involve. Here we will do lot of testing and we will make sure that our application is working as expected by performing so many testing. What are all the different testings? We will be learning in probably next session. Okay, fine. I will talk about that each and every testing level. Now any application, like right now I'm having one application. This is my application. So this is my software or application. So any application, before going to that production or your live environment, let me see what will happen is each application can be divided into your multiple modules. Okay. Now my application can be divided into multiple modules. See here, module is nothing but simply you can say that it's a functionality of your application. Now I will say that this is my login. Okay. This is my create order, and this is my search order. So this is my application, right? This is my application which I am going to develop. Now what usually will do is developers, right? First they will divide that entire application into different modules. So I have a login module, I have a create order, I have a search order. Now what we can do is we can further divide each module into sub-modules. Now I can divide my module into further. What I can do is I can divide into username, password, So this is my application actually. So what I will do is, right, if I'm having my application, like what I will do is I will be dividing my application into modules and then sub-modules. Now if you see here, like right now I'm having a login module. What I can do is I can divide my login module into sub-modules. Now if you see here, right, you cannot further divide this username into you cannot divide this username into your sub-module, because this is the smallest individual unit. If you see here, username is called your smallest individual unit, because you cannot further divide into sub-modules. So this is called your smallest individual unit. So here, now while developing the application, your developer will develop each and every component, each and every field they will develop. While developing, what they will do is they will be doing that unit testing. Unit testing is nothing but testing the smallest individual unit is called unit testing, and this unit testing is the job of your developer. Unit testing is the job of the developer. This is the responsibility of your developer. That means before releasing that application to the QA team, developer has to perform the unit testing and then release it. If they are not doing this unit testing, you can always raise your flag saying that please do your unit testing and then release the build to the QA team. This is mandatory. So here what they will do is, while developing the application, developers will do this unit testing. Now, okay, unit test, that is your unit test. So testing the testing the smallest unit is called your unit testing. Now what they will do, as a developer, I will develop my username, password and submit, and then I will check that whether each and everything is working correctly or not, and also I will check very high level. I will not do any detailed testing. And then they will be giving this module, complete module to the tester. Now what you can do as a tester, you can perform your testing here. So module testing will be done by the tester. Now as a tester, what you can do, you can do each and every testing, like take each and every functionality and how many ways you can test it. Try to test that module with all the possible scenarios. So how to write the test cases for each and every functionality, how many ways you can write it, that we will be discussing in some time. So here module testing is the job of test engineer, and then here we will test the complete module, and this is the responsibility of your testing team. Okay. Now if you see here, that is our module. Now, so here what will happen is, now you can do an integration between your modules. Yes.
What's the difference between the unit testing and a module testing?
So here, right, unit testing is nothing but, right, they are not doing any testing here. See, if I'm a developer, I'm developing just username, password and submit. What I will do is, once I develop my username, I will see that whether I'm able to enter the value in my username or not. If I'm able to enter the value, yes, I'm good. Just move to the password. See that whether you are able to enter the value. Yes. And submit. See that whether it's clickable or not. That is called your unit testing, because you are not doing any testing yet. Just you are checking high level testing. When it comes to that module testing, as a tester, what you will do? You will not enter any username and password and click on submit. One scenario. You will be entering only username, click on submit. See that what is happening. Second scenario. Then you will be entering only password, click on submit. See that what is happening. Third scenario. Fourth scenario, I will enter my username and password valid and then click on submit. See that what is happening. And then fifth scenario, I will enter both username and password, but both are invalid, and then submit it. See that what is happening. That is called your testing. But when you say that what you call unit testing, they will develop it and they will see that whether user is able to enter the values or not. You will not do any testing here. Clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Now if you see, right, so here, right, so this module testing is applicable for each and every module. That means as a tester, I will be testing login module. As a tester, I will be testing my create order. As a tester, I will be doing that testing for my search order. All the modules we will test here. Now the third level of your testing is integration testing. So usually, right, what will happen is, this integration testing is nothing but verify whether the data is flowing between the modules correctly or not. That means now once I implemented my all the modules, I want to cross check whether the data is flowing between the modules correctly or not. So for example, as a tester, what I will test here, you can ask me as a tester what I can test as part of my integration. So if you see here, now here I will create one order here. I will create one order. Say that 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I will go to the search order. Here I will search with 1, 2, 3. When you search with 1, 2, 3, what should happen? Your search record, your 1, 2, 3 record should display. So this is the kind of your integration testing. Integration testing is nothing but make sure that the dependent modules, right, between the dependent modules, the data is flowing correctly or not. This is what exactly you will do in your integration testing. So this is the best example. You can create an order and immediately you can go to the module and then other module, and you can cross check that whatever the data you created here, it should appear in this particular search order. If it is appearing, yes, we are good. If it is not appearing, log it as a defect. This is what you will do in the integration testing. Once you are done with your integration testing, the final thing, very important thing, is system integration testing. System integration testing is really important. I mean to say that system testing. System testing is really important. System testing is nothing but the name indicates testing the system as a whole. So you are testing the entire system as a whole. So here, right, there is no module concept. You are getting the complete application, right? You are getting the complete application. So you are getting your complete application now as a, yes, as a tester.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry to. Can I talk?
Yeah, tell me.
So in integration testing, there are two things there: system integration testing and component integration testing.
Yeah.
Is there, isn't it?
Yeah, we will do that system integration testing, like as a tester, we will do that system integration testing. This is what I'm talking. So this is nothing but like one module, and this is your another module, and this is your another module. So make sure that the data is integrating between your modules. That is called your system integration testing. Whereas component integration testing, right, most of the times, right, that will be taken care by your developers. That means what they will do is, they will be testing with respect to the components. They wanted to make sure that whether the data is flowing between the components successfully. Okay. This is our system integration testing. This is our system integration testing. Fine. Now, when you say that this fourth one is very important, that is your system testing. Here, when I say that system testing is nothing but like right here, as part of your system testing, you may be applying so many testing types, and you will perform all your testing types to make sure that your entire system is working as expected. So here the simple meaning, system testing is nothing but test the entire system as a whole. Test the system as a whole. That is called your system testing. And as part of your system testing, you may be using like so many testing types. Like you have regression testing, retesting, X, Y, Z testing, so many testings are there. Everything we will discuss. Now, right? So you have to remember this is the main job of your testing team. If you are doing your testing job, your main job is system testing. You will be getting the developed system from your developer. So what developer will do? Developer will develop the application, and they will give the developed application to you. As a tester, test each and every functionality of your application is working expected or not. If everything is working expected, yes, I'm good. Let's go to the next level. So once we are done with this system testing, if everything is good, right, whatever the system we develop, that is working as expected and that is developed based on the customer input, we are good. Then it will go to the final testing called your UAT, user acceptance testing. That means now as a client, what I will is, I will cross check whether my application is developed with all the requirements or not. That is my job. I want to cross check that whether my application is developed with all my requirements or not. If everything is developed, everything is working fine, as a client I will say that I am good. So one more thing here, right, when you say that user acceptance testing, they will not check with each and every negative scenarios. Meaning, just now I said that login. When I say that login with valid, invalid, empty value, so many scenarios. But when you go to the UAT, right, client cannot check each and everything. What he will do, he will check whether I am able to log in with the valid user or not. That's it. Just he will check the positive flow. He will check the positive flow of each and every functionality. If everything is good, as a client, what he will do is he will say that I am good. Once we are done with that UAT, and if the client is giving the sign off, if the client is giving the green signal, then application will go to the production. If client is finding any issues in that application, then he can provide that suggestions or feedback, and based on that suggestions and feedback, your developers will develop that or modify that code, and testers again, they will do one round of testing to make sure that all the suggestions are properly implemented. This is the procedure for any application before going to the production, live environment, production or live environment. Okay. Now, okay. Okay, next thing is, right, every time we are talking about that applications. So as a tester, what kind of applications I may test? What kind of applications we may test? So here, let's see, from the testing point of view, I will tell you one point. From the testing point of view, if you're testing the Java application, if you're testing that healthcare application, if you're testing with the banking application, it will not make any huge difference. Maybe there may be like little difference, but like testing point of view I'm not talking about any development point of view. Testing point of view, it will not make any difference between your applications. If I'm testing my healthcare, I will be using the same strategy. If I'm working with my healthcare banking application, I will use the same strategy. However, like it's a banking application, so it is very important to make sure that it is secure, more secure. So what we will do is we will make sure that that security testing is done by that particular team or not. That is important. Like that. So if you're testing your applications, any domain, whatever may be the domain, like irrespective of your domain, testing will be almost same. So there will not be much difference. Now here also, if you see, right, type of your applications. What kind of applications we have? Everyone knows this. Like we have desktop application, we have client server application, or you can say that Windows application, and you have your internet application, or you can say that web applications. So what do you mean by this application? How can you say that it's a desktop application? How can you say that it's a client server application? And how can you say that it's a web application? On what basis you are saying? Let me give you very basic definitions for this. See, whenever if you say that application, whatever may be the application can be A, B, C, any application will have three layers: presentation layer, business layer, and database layer. Any application, whatever may be the application. So here, when you say that, right, presentation layer is nothing but UI of your application, how the application is visible to the end user. That is called your presentation layer. So this is called your presentation layer. This is called your presentation layer. That is nothing but how the application is visible to the end user. That is called your presentation layer. Presentation layer is nothing but the UI, user interface, how that application is visible to the end user. So this is my presentation layer. Every application will have some presentation. Now say for example, if I take my calculator also is having some user interface. This is my look and feel of my application. So every application will have user interface. So UI layer. Okay. Second one is nothing but business layer. Business layer is nothing but the place where we will have all our business logic of the application. All our code will be available in that particular place. So business layer is nothing but the place where you can have all your code, application code. Now, so here, right, what we will do is, this is my UI. Now, what will happen is developer will write the code, how this login page will work, and they will be having all this code in this place. That is called your business layer, or people will say that app server, right? People will say that it's application server. So application server is nothing but the place where you can have all your application code. So this is the very basics, but it should be like very useful when you go to the organizations, and if people are talking about that, this is my application server. What do you mean by that application server? Application server is nothing but the place where you can have all your application logic, all your code of your application. And then, yeah, database layer, you can easily say that database layer is nothing but the place where you can have all your databases, So this is your application. Application will have three layers: presentation, business, and database. Any application I'm talking. Now, how can you share that desktop, Windows, and web, right? Whenever all three layers are installed in your local machine, then we can say that that application is a desktop application. Say for example, if you take your calculator, what will happen with the calculator? All your components is installing in your local machine. That is why it is called your desktop application or standalone application. If you see here, for this UI is here only, and your database, everything is available here only. So that is why it is called your standalone or desktop application. Okay. Now, Windows or client server, right? You can hear that, like Windows, client server, intranet. So here right, Windows or client server is nothing but, so here client and server. Client is nothing but your UI, server is nothing but your application layer plus database layer. That means in the server you can have your application code plus your database. Both will be available in your server, and client is nothing but UI. And here we are talking about that intranet. What do you mean by intranet? Intranet is nothing but it will work only within the network. Meaning, if you are working in the organizations, if you go to the organizations, most of the applications will be intranet applications. Those are not your internet applications. Intranet means you can work with that applications only if you are in that network only. Once you come out of that network, that application will not work. That means these applications will work only within the network. Say for example, if you're trying to fetch the information of your employee, and like if you're working with the organization, and then if you're trying to fetch the information of some employee, so what you can do is that you can fetch the information, but you can fetch only if you are in the network, because all these applications are client server applications. All these are intranet applications. You can access by using your client, and then server will give you the information. However, you should be in the network to get the information. That is what client server or intranet application. Intranet means within the network. When you say that internet or web applications means you can access that application from anywhere. I can access from my home, I can access from my office. I can access that application from anywhere. That is called our web application. And one more point here I wanted to tell you guys, web application also is a client server application. Web application is also a client server application. If you see here, this is my web application, agree? So web application also is a client server application. However, my client is the browser. My client is the browser. So what I will do is I will be getting my information by using this client. Now what I will do, I will enter my username. I will enter my username. I will enter my password. When I click on submit, what will happen in the back end? Now this submit will go to that business layer, and in the business layer it will check whether the user entered the information based on the business logic. What do you mean by business logic? They will say that user has to enter 4 characters, password has to enter 4 characters. They will check the business logic. Yes, user entered the values based on the business logic. Now this application layer will communicate with the database layer, and it will check, is this user is available with you? Then database layer will communicate back to application layer saying that no, this user is not available with me. Then business layer, what it will do, it will give the logic. See, looks, this user is not available, please show this logic to the end user. Now your business logic will communicate back to your UI, and in the UI you will get that message accordingly. This is how your application will work. Anywhere, any application. Anywhere, any application, this is the logic. Let me know if you guys are having any doubts. Okay, fine. Then this is my application. Next thing, okay, now I understand that, like what is the application. Fine. Next question, immediate question comes into my mind is, where I will test my application, in which environment I will test my application. See, if somebody is asking you, can you test the application, immediate question you have to ask is, can you please tell me which environment I can test the application? This is the question you have to ask. See, if manager will come to you and he said that, like, can you test that application, then you immediately have to say that, please tell me in which environment you want me to test the application. Environment is very important. Environment is nothing but where exactly you are testing that application. Is it in the local environment? Is it in the public environment? Is it in the production environment? Where you want. You have to clearly ask that, and you have to clearly mention. Now, let me tell you like different environments available here, and then what is the difference between each and every environment. First thing is develop environment. See, here environment is nothing but it's dedicated to that particular team, right? So it's a box, right? It's a server. So what they will do is they will allocate the server to so and so team. That's it. Environment means it's not a different term. That is the place where people will work, and that is dedicated to that particular environment. Development environment. First thing, development environment is nothing but this is the place where developers will develop that application. So they will be allocated some machines. In that machines, this developer will write the code to develop the application. So this is called our development environment. And next one is, say, development environment. I will not bother about that, like, right. And one more thing is, development environment is nothing but it's a local environment. See, first what we will do is, we will write the code in our local environment. Local environment means within the organization. That application will work only within the organization. First, we will write the code in such a way that our application will work in the local environment. That means within the organization. If it is working fine, then only we will move to the next environment. So here, right, developer write the code. Now, once they are done with the code, always as a tester, I will be testing my application with the testing environment, dedicated test environment. As a tester, you have to always ask the team for your dedicated test environment, because, right, see, if you're not having your dedicated test environment, and if you guys are testing in the same development environment, and like, right, while doing your testing, probably your developers doing some changes. Because of the changes, your entire testing will affect. That's the reason always you have to ask a dedicated test environment. That's mandatory. And test environment also, it's a local environment. It is also local environment only. First we will do our testing in the local environment. If everything good, then we will move to the next level. But first we will test in the local environment. This QA environment is also local environment. But here always we need that dedicated test environment, because I don't want to test my application in the development environment, because later on if they are doing some changes, my entire testing will affect. I don't want to take that risk. However, sometimes what will happen is, due to some time or whatever may be the reason, due to some constraint, they are unable to provide the QA environment for the testing, and the team asks you to test the application with the development environment. This kind of situation, see, there may be some concerns, there may be some bypasses. Then okay, looks right, we are having some challenges to create the QA environment. I agree with you. However, if I want to test the application in the development environment, I can do that. But during my testing time, no development activity should happen. If any such activities will happen, then we are not responsible for the quality. You have to make this statement. Sometimes, yes, it will happen, right? Due to some time constraints, right? Probably, right, team is unable to create some test environment, and they will ask you to test with the development environment. That is fine. Say, sometimes concerns will come. Yes, we will agree with that, because end of the day, it's our team. We will say that, yes, I agree, but you have to make sure that there is no development activities are happening during my test execution time. If any such activities will happen, I am not responsible for the quality. You have to make this statement. Okay, fine. So this development and QA both are local environments only. What we will do is we will develop our application and test the application in the local environment. Local environment is nothing but within the network. It will work only within the network. And we will do a thorough test. We will do each and everything. We will do the testing for each and everything in the test environment. Once we are done with this test environment, yes, I tested my application in the test environment, and so you can also see that your URL looks like this. Your URL looks like this. So local means it's IP address. So it will work only within the network. So it's an IP address followed by your URL. This is how exactly your URL looks when you are testing your application in your test environment or development environment. Now, I tested my application in my QA environment and everything is working fine. We planned with this QA environment with 3 builds. Yes, we tested everything and we fixed the issues and we are good. Then what we will do is we will go to the environment called stage environment. Some people will say that stage environment. Some people will say that system integration testing. So it's an environment, just a naming convention, okay? Stage environment or system integration testing. But remember, this stage environment is a public domain. Now you can ask me, so once we are done with the testing with that application, why not directly move to your production? Why you need one more environment here? What is the use of this? See here, right, once we are done with the testing, you can directly move to the production. That you can do that. But what will happen in the long run, it's a real challenge and it's a real difficult for any new fixes or any new issues and all. What will happen is if you are directly moving from your local environment to your production, and in future if you are getting any issues, if you are getting any production issues, like customer is facing some issues in the production, when he is having any such kind of issues, right, I cannot play with my production. How can I play with my production? Because it's live, right? I cannot play with my production. And if I go back to my test, right, that's a local environment, but this is in the live environment. These two environments are completely different. So if I fix the issues, right, whatever the issue I'm getting in the production, if I fix the issue here, I'm not sure with this fix it will work correctly in the production, because it's a local environment, that is the live environment, that's a global environment. So what we will do is, to avoid this kind of situation, to avoid this kind of unnecessary issues, what we will do is we will be creating a environment called stage, which is a replica of your production, So what we will do is we will be creating this environment, and it's a public. Remember, this is a public domain, and then we will do one round of testing here, and if everything is working fine, we will go to the production. And in the production, in future, if you guys are getting any issues, then what you can do is you can play with your staging. Don't touch your production, because production is the live. So we will not play with the production, we will play with the staging, and we will fix the issues. And if everything is working fine, just push the code. To push the code, probably, right, they may take like 2 hours of time. Sometimes, right, you can see some downtime notifications in your applications. They will say that we are down for 2 to 4 hours, we will come back, something like that. You will get that messages, because that means they are pushing some code to your production. That's the meaning of your messages. Okay, clear? Any doubt on this, please let me know. If you have any doubt, please let me know. Okay. Okay, fine. Let's start with your software testing lifecycle. So I understand that what is testing, and then what is the application, and then where I will test. Fine. Let's talk about that software testing lifecycle. Name indicates software testing lifecycle. That means it's a life cycle for your entire software testing, where we are starting the testing and where we are closing the testing. So all the phases will be available in this software testing lifecycle. So here you will be having all the phases, and here you can see that when we will start the testing and when we will stop the testing, and what will happen in between, what and all happen in between, and then who is responsible for it, and then what we will do. Each and every phase we will talk about now. Okay, so this is the main concept of any tester, software testing life cycle. So these are all the different phases, like requirement analysis, effort estimation. Ideally, right, these two things will come out of your STLC. That means what we will do is, once we got the requirement, right, I will show you one requirement document, how the requirement document looks. Once you get your requirement document, immediately you need to understand the requirement document. You need to analyze the requirements. See that whether you are able to understand each and every requirement thoroughly. Then only I will go to the next step. Otherwise, I will never move to the next step. So next one is effort estimation. Effort estimation, right? Effort estimation will be done by your lead. Will be done by your lead. The reason is why I'm saying that it's done by lead means, right? Now effort estimation is nothing but how much time required for the testing time to complete the project. So we are working with one application. So for this application, how much time is required to complete the testing activities? That is nothing but your effort estimation. So this effort estimation will be done by your test lead or your test manager. Test manager will do this effort estimation. How much time required to complete these testing activities? Fine. Then hello, hello. Looks right. I lost the audio. Where I lost the audio?
Yeah, after effort estimation.
Okay, fine. Yeah, thank you. So here effort estimation is nothing but this is the job of your lead. What they will is they will be giving like how much time we require to complete the testing activities. For the entire testing activities we need like 30 days, whatever the days. So what they will is they will be providing the estimates, and then responsible people for this estimation is either lead or manager, test lead or test manager. Fine. And from here your test software test life cycle will start. That means your software testing life cycle starts from test planning. Test planning is nothing but I will talk about that each and every phase in detail. However, right here just I'm giving you like some overview, and going forward we will talk about that each and every phase. If you understand each and every phase, that means you are done with your manual testing. If you understand each and every phase of your software testing life cycle, means you are done with your manual testing and you are good with your manual testing. And here, right, what I will do is I will be giving like one line definition, and going forward I will talk about that each and every phase along with the examples, along with the documents. So test planning. So here test planning is nothing but it is a strategic document to test your application. So how you are going to test the application? What is the strategy? What is the strategy to test your application? That is called your test planning. Test planning is a strategic document how you are going to test that application. Okay. And then like right, people will ask usually right, who will prepare this test plan? Usually right, this test plan will be prepared by the lead, but there is no rule that only test lead will prepare that test plan, because test plan can be created by anyone. Even a test lead can create it, or even a senior tester can create it, or you may also get a chance to create that test plan. So anyone can create the test plan. Only thing is like if you're an experienced guy, like probably right, you can write a even effective test plan. Okay, we will talk about that, like how to write the test plan and what contents will be available in the test plan, and also I will show you one of the test plan. Then next one is test design. Test design. Test design is nothing but test cases. Right? See here, right? Let me tell you one point here. Test case creation is the primary responsibility of any tester. If you are doing your testing job, your primary responsibility is test case creation. If you are good, if you are able to create your effective test cases, that means you are 50% done with your testing. Because right, whatever may be the application, whatever may be the testing you are doing, test case creation is the primary job. So the primary responsibility of any tester is test case creation. If you don't know how to create the test cases, and then as a tester, right, testing any application is very difficult. So test case writing is mandatory for Any test engineer, whoever doing the testing job. That's a mandatory one. So you have to write your test cases. I will give the definition for the time being what is test case, and then going forward I will tell you like how to write the test cases. So here test cases is nothing but, right, each and every possible condition to test a requirement is called your test case. That means if you are having one requirement, how many ways I can test it? Each and every possible condition to test a requirement is called a test case. Test case is nothing but how many ways I can test it, and I can test n number of ways for any requirement. So each and every possible condition is called your test case. We will talk about that, how to write the test cases, way to write the test cases. I will talk about that. Okay. Then reviews. So once we are done with, see, any review, not only test case here. Okay. Once we are done with the document, always there will be a review. Review is nothing but like how to make sure that whether that document, whatever is created, is covered each and everything. For that we will do some reviews. Reviews can be peer reviews. Peer review is nothing but the person who is at the same level. That means in your team, say for example, like in your team, like 2 testers are there. When 2 testers are there, you will write the test cases and your test cases will be reviewed by someone else, right? Similarly, what will happen is some other tester will write the test cases and those test cases will be reviewed by you. That is called your peer review. And what will happen is one more review will be there. It's a lead review. That means, right, we will write the test cases and then we will send the test cases to the lead, and then lead will review the test cases. And then execution. See, once we are done with that reviews, right? Once we are done with the reviews, the next one is execution. Execution is nothing but, right, what we will do is we have like n number of test cases, and then we will be executing each and every test case. So whatever the test case we have, take that test case and then go to that application, see that each and every test case is working correctly or not. So what I will do, if I have 100 test cases, take the 100 test cases and go to the application and apply all the test cases, and then start checking that each and every test case, see that everything is working correctly or not. So result analysis is nothing but what we are doing is we are checking the result of each and every test case. How many test cases are passed, how many are failed. So everything we will check here. And then once we are done with this, then right, what we will do is we will be talking about your result analysis. Right, result analysis is nothing but we will check the analysis of your test case results. And then bug tracking. Right, bug tracking is nothing but now while executing my test cases, right, what I will do is I will see that how many test cases are passed and then how many test cases are failed. If any test case is failed, right, then we will say that, right, it's a defect. So if any test case is failed, immediately we will log that as a defect. How to log the defect, and we will talk about that later. So the bug tracking is nothing but we will track each and every defect here. What do you mean by defect? Defect is nothing but deviation from the requirement. Now, deviation from the requirement. Okay. So what we will do is right here, we will start executing each and every test case, and then if any test case is failed, immediately we will log the defect. Fine. Now one more point here I wanted to tell you, bug tracking also is the primary responsibility of any tester. That means test case writing and your bug tracking, these two are the primary responsibilities of any tester. And then the final one is reporting. And reporting is the responsibility of your test lead actually. This is the responsibility of your test lead. What test lead will do is that he will report. He will provide that reports to that management. Like he will provide the report saying that how many test cases we executed, how many defects we found, how many are closed, how many are still open, and then how many bills we got. Right? We will give all this reports to the test management, not test management, management. So what we will do is, as a test lead, I will provide all these reports to the test. I will send all these reports to the management team, and then management team, they can see these reports, and then they can assess the performance of our application, how it is going. They can assess easily based on the reports. So your report should be accurate. I will also show you like couple of metrics or reports, how we will send it to the management. Because right, see, if you are sending like test case results, your management will not have any time to look into that each and every test case, how many are passed, how many are failed. They don't have much time. If you are providing some reports, if you are providing some pictorial representation, it is easy for them to understand, and it is easy to spend less time, and also you can spend very less time to understand those reports and all. We will talk about that also. So this is your software testing life cycle. Here also I gave you some pictorial representation. What is this software testing life cycle, and what you will be doing in each and every phase, So like, and also one more question will come right in your interviews. Can you please tell me what are all the deliverables you delivered in your current project? When you say that what are all the deliverables delivered means, what is the work you have done in each and every phase? That will come here. You can see here. You can see here what is the work you have done here. Now what we will do, test planning. Test planning is nothing but here what we will do is we will be having a proper plan how you are going to test the application. What you are testing, what requirements you are testing, what requirements you are not testing, how you are testing, what is the timelines for the testing. Each and every information will be captured here. Remember one point here, test plan is very important document for our entire cycle, because the reason is everyone will follow that particular test plan only, because in the test plan we will clearly mention what we are going to test, what we are not testing, and also we will clearly mention how we are going to test. So this test plan is a very important document in your life cycle. Fine. Once the test planning is done, then we will be writing our test cases. That means, right, we will have a requirement document. Take your requirement document and then start writing your test cases. If you see here, right, here also clearly mention, I clearly mention test case designing. So here we will write the test cases and also identify the test data. Test data is a very, very important responsibility for the tester. Test data is nothing but which data you are using to test that particular application. That means, meaning here is like, right, if you are saying that creating the order, what data you will be using to create your order, that is called your test data. Test data is nothing but the data which will be used to perform your test case execution. Now say for example, right, like a couple of days back, I guess Anu was asking like about your banking payment. I'm not sure Anu or someone else. Someone was asking me about like how we will test that banking payment application especially. Then I said that you will be getting the test data. What do you mean by test data? I mean, this is the phase. Here we will identify the test data which we require. Now say for example, I want to test my banking payment module. When I want to test my payment module, I need the data. I need my credit card information. Otherwise, I cannot use my credit card, right? So what I will do is, I will be raising my flag saying that I need the test data to test this particular requirement. Please provide the test data. So here what you are doing, you are identifying the test data. Then you can see that from where you can get the data and how you can get the data. That's depends, right? Getting the data, it's not a big deal. Once you identified I want this data, then you can get it from your other teams, or you can get it from your developers, or you can get it from your business. It depends on the environment. That's not a big deal. First you need to identify the test data, what exactly you require. If you know what exactly you require, getting the data is not a big deal. Then identify the environment. So just now, as I said, like we're having the different environments where we are testing the application. Tell me that where I want to test the application. Do I need to test the application in the QA environment, or Do I need to test the application directly in the SID environment? Tell me. Based on that only we will work. Then if you guys are using your automation tools, then you can identify our tools here itself. Then test implementation and execution. That means here we will execute, like in the second step, in the second phase, we wrote a lot of test cases, and whatever the test cases we have here, we will be executing our test cases. Execute each and every test case, and like if, and you can you can mark the status for each and every test case. If it is pass, that means if your expected and actual results is matching, pass, else fail. And whenever if any test case is failing, if my test case is failing, then I will log it as a defect. If my test case is failing, then I will log it as a defect. Log it as a defect. And then next one is retesting. So for the time being, retesting is nothing but like a test. It is nothing but your bug verification testing. Once the defect is fixed by the developer, you will be using this retesting to make sure that the defect is properly fixed. For that, we will be using this retesting. And then like what we will do is, like here we will prepare some reports here. So once we are done with execution, let's have some reports. And if you have some closure activities, you can do that. Otherwise, it's not mandatory. Last one is not mandatory. Like now I'm done with my testing, and then you can provide all the documentation to that entire team saying that we are done with this testing activities. And also you can send like some document what lessons you learned during your testing. You can talk about all the lessons learned as part of your test closure activities. This is what your software testing life cycle. Please let me know if you have any doubt. However, we will be talking about that each and every phase in detail. It will take some time. Okay, we will talk about that all the phases. However, please let me know whether you got the high level overview or not. That is my point. Okay. Okay. Fine. Now first talk about that requirement analysis. Effort estimation, like I will give you some idea how to do that effort estimation, but it's not required much to discuss. But yes, I will give the idea, like how the estimations will be done, on what basis, how the people will estimate this testing efforts. I will talk about that. First thing is very important is requirement analysis. The requirement analysis is nothing but, see, once you join the organization, first thing, right, you will be getting some requirement document. You will be getting some requirement document, and your project manager or lead, they will ask you to go through that requirement document, and if you have any doubt, you can come back and you can ask the team. And this is the phase where you can ask any number of questions, whether it is a small question, whether it's an invalid question, any kind of questions you can raise in this phase. This is the time. This is the time where you will be understanding your requirements thoroughly, and you can ask n number of questions to understand your requirements. Even though my query is invalid, that is absolutely fine, no issues. Okay. So requirement analysis is nothing but, here we will understand the requirements. So I will show you that how you will requirement document looks like. First thing, right, requirement analysis means, right, why you are analyzing your requirements. I will check, are these right requirements? Are these requirements are complete requirements? Because, right, see, business analyst will create this requirement document. While preparing this requirement document, right, probably, right, he may miss something. When he is missing something, like, right, during your analysis, during your analyzing the requirements, probably, right, you can find it. Probably you can caught it. Then you can raise the flag so that your business analyst will update the documents accordingly. So we will check, are these requirements are completed, and are these requirements are testable. Right? I will check. I will check from my testing point of view. Are these really testable? Right? Are these achievable requirements? This is from the development point of view. What they will do, if you are giving one requirement, like what I will do, I will check whether this is a feasible requirement or not. Whether this requirement is feasible or not, I will check that. So that is why requirement analysis is very, very important. Okay, fine. Let me open one requirement document. How the requirement document looks like. I will be showing you a couple of requirement documents. I'll be showing you a couple of requirements. So this requirement documents, right, different people will use different formats. End of the day, requirement document is nothing but this is the place where you can find your requirements for that particular application. So if you're having a good business analyst in your organization, they will capture each and every requirement, each and every business rule for your application. Everything they will capture. But if you have like a less experienced business analyst, then probably, right, you can find a lot of loopholes. You can find lot of things in your requirement document. Okay, fine. This is one of the like requirement document. So this is one of the requirement document. So they will be writing like this. Any document, revision history will be there. So if you see this, right, requirement document, see, whenever if you say that requirement document, what exactly will be available? And from the testing point of view, you can like, right, focus like this. See, whenever if you want to work with any application, right, what you need, see, if you want to start writing your test cases, or if you want to work with any application, what you need, tell me. I need user interface requirements. User interface requirements. What do you mean by user interface requirements? Look and feel, or we will say that wireframes. That means wireframes is nothing but how your application is going to looks like. How your application going to looks like. So what they will is, they will be providing you some wireframes, or they will provide you some screenshots. They will provide some screenshots. This is important. User interface and functional requirements. Functional functional requirement. Functional requirement is nothing but what is the functionality? What is the functionality of your application? What is your functionality of your application? So what they will is, they will be talking about that each and every functionality in the requirement document. Go through that each and every functionality. So functional requirements. So if you consider that, right, user interface requirements, and then your functionality requirements. So what we will do is, right here, we will talk about all your UI requirements, and we will talk about all your functional requirements. Give me 1 minute, please. Sorry guys, yeah. Sorry guys, yeah, Satish. Yeah, actually that I got one call, so I cannot avoid that. Yeah, sorry for that. So when you say that, right, when anytime, if you say that a requirement document, and one more thing I wanted to tell you, going forward, every day I will take like 1.5 7 hour session, because right, I discussed with Santosh, right, because we are going very slow. So let's try to have some more time with the sessions, like 1.5 hour every day. What do you say? Is it fine with everyone? Is it fine? Okay, fine. So when you say that, right, requirement document, okay. Whenever, right, if you say that requirement document, always, right, what you can expect from the requirement document is its user interface requirements. That is nothing but your wireframes. Wireframes. Wireframes is nothing but screenshots, how exactly your application looks, right? They will be providing a screenshots. They will clearly mention how your application looks like. That means, show you, let me show you that one more requirement document. This is how exactly looks. Let me pull that. Let me show you that. Okay. Let me show you. So what they will do, right, when they're creating this requirement document, they will be having your screenshots. See, something like this. See, they will provide your wireframes. They will provide your wireframes. Okay. They'll provide your wireframe. So whenever, right, if you're getting your requirement document, what you can expect is, right, it is nothing but your wireframes, and the second one is nothing but your functional requirements. Functional requirements is nothing but, like, what is the functionality? What is the functionality? What is the functionality of your application? They will provide, this is the functionality, and for each and every functionality, they will be providing the business rules. They will provide the business rules. So it is called as, technically it is called business rules for each requirement. So what they will do is they will provide the business rule for each and every requirement. That means, so here, right, I have one functional requirement saying that login. Login is my requirement. And here, what is your business rule for each requirement? One business rule. Okay. Username. This is called your business rules. Okay. Username. See, we are trying to understand the requirement document only. Okay. We are not understanding any test cases, test plan. Just we are trying to understand the requirements. Username will allow 4 to 8 numeric characters. 4 to 8 numeric characters. Okay. Numeric characters. Okay. This is your username. So like this, right, what they will is they will be providing the business rules for each and every requirement. So if you have a correct and right business analyst, they will be capturing each and every business rule properly. And if everything is captured correctly, then writing the test cases and then executing it and getting the quality product is very easy, because everything will be depending on your requirements only. Okay, like this. Fine. If you see, right, when you see your requirement document, it looks something like this. So it will be like this. No need to go through that each and everything, whatever the introduction and all not required. So what you can is, you can go with that. Okay. Okay. What is the requirement? So this is the requirements for your particular project. This is the requirements for your particular project. And what they will is, they will be talking about that each and every, like, what you call requirement. What is this requirement here? What is the requirement? Okay. Hmm. Okay, so talk about that. Let's go with your UI and your front end details. Your front end details and your okay, this is your front end details and your what is your requirements. This is also not proper requirement document actually, because if you see, right, I am getting like n number of questions. You are saying that customer name, how many characters my customer name will allow, what is the validation of my customer name, and then is customer name will allow special characters, is customer name will allow my alphabet. So you will get n number of questions. So everything has to like capture by your business analyst. If you say the date of birth, I will get n number of questions. Date of birth means, is this MMDDYY format, or which format you guys are allowing, or user is able to edit that date field, or he is only date picker. So you will get n number of questions. So all these questions, what you can do, so here, right, what you can do is, right, whatever the questions you have, like all the questions, what you can do is you can shoot it to your project manager or business analyst. They will help you with your answers. That is their job. Because, right, if you see, right, n number of questions, nothing is there. Simply they said that these fields will come. I cannot understand what is the business rule for each and every field. And I also say, for example, if I'm trying with invalid information, what is the error message I will get? Anywhere they mention? No. They have to mention. That's why if you go back here, why we are going to this requirement analysis, we are checking that are they complete requirement. So if you see this current requirement, this is not completed. Because they are having lot of like incomplete things. Like when you say the data flight, which format we will use? Is it a date picker? Is it a editable data field? Or what is the error message we are showing if I'm selecting my future date? So many questions you are getting. So that means you can say that it's a incomplete requirement. So you will do your requirement analysis, right? You will do your requirement analysis to check whether your requirements are completely understandable, and it is completed requirements, and it is testable requirements. You can check each and every requirement, and if you have any queries, you can go back to your project manager or business analyst, or even you can go with your test lead to get the clarifications. Okay, this is how your requirement document looks like. So what I will do is I will be sending you like these requirement documents, so you can have a look. Like how this document looks like. See here, right? They're providing this looks right. Yeah, they're providing some messages. So these are all the validation error messages. Like when you're trying with any special characters, you should get some messages and all. So what you can do, just go through this entire document. Now your job is, right, okay, I will give you like couple of days, today and tomorrow, not one day, I will give you 2 days, and I will send you 2 requirement documents. Go through that each and every requirement. And try to understand whether you are comfortable with that requirement, because you will be writing the test cases for that requirement document going forward. So you should be very comfortable with that requirements. Go through that each and everything and see that is there anything is missed. Just make a note. Just take your Excel, and if any requirement is missed, anything is missed, what you can do is you can highlight it and send it back to me, so that we can discuss that in the next session, or probably next to next session. This is your job. Okay, so you have to go through that entire requirement document, go through that each and every requirement document. Yes, it will take time. Go through your functional requirements and your user interface requirements. And the second one is this one. This is your second one. Now what you can do, this is a very simple document. So here, right, what you can do is you can also go through this document This is your search functionality, and for this particular search functionality your screen looks like this. Your screen once implemented, it has to look like this, and this is your business rules for this particular search functionality. See that whether you are able to understand. See that if I missed anything, you can, oh sorry, okay, you can see that. Now this is your advanced search, right? You can also see this, like, right, see that how user can do this advanced search, and also once the application is implemented with this advanced search, it look like this. And these are all your business rules. These are all your business rules. These are all your business rules. So what you can do is first two requirements what you can do is go through that each and every requirement and then try to understand that requirement. And if anything missed, if any point you are not able to understand, make a note in your Excel, send it back to me, or send it to the entire team, so that everyone will know that what is happening, how you are understanding your requirements. This is your task for the next 2 days. Let me know if you have any doubt on this. So we are done with the requirement analysis. Requirement analysis is nothing but make sure that you are able to understand each and every requirement. If there is any, like, right, discrepancy, and if you are not able to understand any point also, see, sometimes, see, when I join any organization as a new team member, probably, right, I don't know what exactly they are using, what exactly their terminology, I don't know. So if I see any terminology, if I'm not able to understand, I will ask them, see, what is this, can you please explain me? So during your requirement understanding phase, during your requirement analysis phase, you can ask any kind of question, even though it's invalid. Okay, so that's it for this requirement analysis. Okay, and then what we will do, okay, effort estimation I cannot know. Okay, we will talk about that effort estimation in the next session, and test planning. I will complete these two in the next session. Any doubts in this, please let me know. I will send you this two documents, whatever that requirement document I showed you, along with your recorded video. Yes. Okay, fine.